We study the morning routines, the reading lists, and the exact daily habits of the ultra-rich, searching for the specific behavior that might turn a regular paycheck into a massive fortune. The problem with mimicking those habits is that the advice comes exclusively from the tiny fraction of people who actually survived the climb. We rarely hear from the thousands of others who followed the same strategies and went bankrupt. Often, the celebrated success stories are built on an invisible foundation of family wealth or elite connections, a safety net that allows for massive risk-taking without the fear of total ruin. Scammers exploit this desire for a shortcut through slick messaging channels, promising guaranteed 800% returns and requesting untraceable crypto payments. They rely on scripts designed to create urgency, luring people into handing over their savings to avoid missing out. When the primary goal is rapid wealth creation, the process usually involves borrowing heavily and taking massive, concentrated risks. It often works for a brief period, right until the market turns and the entire structure collapses. This push for hypergrowth at any cost can destroy billions in paper wealth the moment the math catches up to the marketing. Sustainable wealth is rarely the result of a lucky gamble or an overnight hack. It is the output of a three-part mathematical equation involving value, concentration, and time. The first variable in that equation is active value creation. You cannot save your way to hundreds of millions of dollars on a standard salary. Building serious initial capital requires giving society something it wants but does not yet know how to get at a massive scale. Successful businesses start by identifying a universal pain point, a problem that costs people time or money, and providing a service that solves it. People pay because the solution makes their lives more productive. Identifying that problem and delivering the solution to millions of people creates the seed capital required to fuel the rest of the equation. Once you have that initial capital, the second variable is deciding exactly where to deploy it. High-conviction investors look for 100-baggers, rare companies that possess wide moats, high returns on capital, and enough runway to grow their earnings for decades. Traditional advice suggests extreme diversification to manage risk, but spreading your capital across hundreds of average companies will dilute your returns. True wealth builders concentrate their bets on a few of these exceptional winners. This is the coffee can strategy. You identify the top-tier assets, buy them, and mentally lock them away. You refuse to sell them to lock in a small profit or trade them during a market dip. By concentrating capital into outliers and letting the businesses reinvest their own earnings, you create a multiplier effect that a diversified index can never match. The third variable is the snowball, the mathematics of unbroken compounding. A $100,000 investment in a balanced index grows to $259,000 over 10 years, while a concentrated index hits $339,000. Extend that to 30 years, and the curves explode. The concentrated index reaches $3.91 million, crushing the baseline's $1.74 million. This $2.16 million gap only exists if the compounding is never interrupted. Every time you sell to take a profit, you trigger taxes and fees that break the chain and reset the math. Unbroken compounding is the only force capable of transforming initial capital into this kind of exponential generational wealth. If the formula is simply solving a problem, buying great assets, and waiting 30 years, why isn't the outcome more common? Financial literacy and mathematical skill are rarely the primary barriers. The process usually collapses because of human biology, the struggle to endure long periods of boredom followed by moments of total terror. When the market crashes and a portfolio drops 30% in a single year, panic selling feels like the only way to stop the pain. But selling during a downturn locks in the loss and flattens the growth curve, permanently breaking the compounding chain. The most successful investors operate with unemotional discipline. They view severe market drops as temporary noise, allowing the business to work in the background. The real test is the ability to sit tight and do nothing while the world around you is panicking. Most people lack the initial privilege or the extreme luck required to reach $1 billion. However, this framework of value creation, concentrated growth, and psychological endurance provides a measurable path toward the first $1 million,